We've got a lot of great folks with us here today, so thank everyone for attending. And we got some dignitaries. Our Secretary of Environmental Protection, Alexis Lambert, is here. We also have Senator Jay Trumbull, who's the senator for this area, as well as Reps Abbott, Maney, Griffiths, and Boyles. And we also have former Rep Rudman, and we have Walton County resident John Dilliard, who's going to also speak. So we're going to sign legislation today, SB 1623. A lot of people have been talking about this issue for a long time, about beach access for the public. And I remember when I was running for governor in 2018, I would be in Walton County and people were really concerned about this because I guess there had been a law that had been signed back then that effectively didn't allow the customary public use for the beaches that has historically been done in certain parts of the state, but really it affected the folks here, I think, more than anything. And I wasn't involved in that. I didn't know kind of how that came to be, but I definitely saw that many years ago, is that this was something that a lot of people really cared about. And so it was something that I always kind of had in the back of my mind. We have been very, very strong in supporting the vitality of Florida's beaches. And we have the best beaches in the United States, maybe in the world. And certainly the people that have come to this part of the state recognize that these are really, really first-class beaches here on Florida's Gulf Coast. And so we have done, since I've been governor, almost $600 million for beach renourishment areas in various parts of the state, but particularly in those parts of the state that have been affected by recent hurricanes. And you'll see these hurricanes come in the surge, and some of these dunes can get swept away. So we've been really, really intent on doing that. We've gotten a lot of money where it needs to go to be able to restore and to keep these things really, really positive. This year's budget, I'm going through all this stuff now, but there will be money in the budget when I sign it to be able to do more beach renourishment. So it's a big part of our state. You see, obviously, in this community, the amount of money that comes in here for tourism and everything. I mean, I remember during COVID, you came down, you wouldn't know COVID existed. It was like the whole world came down to Northwest Florida. It was just totally booming. But that has a huge ripple effect on all the folks that are employed at restaurants and the hotels and all the other amenities that you have. And so it's really, really been strong. I guess you're probably in high season now since we're in the summertime and it seems like things are going well. But being able to have these beautiful beaches is a huge, huge asset for our state. It really does help drive the economy. It also is just important for the culture of the state and for being a Floridian. And for a lot of our residents, we live relatively close to a beach because we have a massive peninsula. And so you grow up having access to nice beaches, and it's just a part of life. Same thing with the fishing, honestly, and why last time we were in Northwest Florida, we did the Gulf Red Snapper announcement. Massive season we have for Gulf Red Snapper because we have control from the feds and we're really getting it done. Important part of the culture as well. So there's a lot of things, but then it's also just you want to be good stewards of what God's given us. And we want to make sure that when whether it's me as governor, these guys in the legislature, whoever, when your time is up, you've left it better to God than what you found it. I can tell you we've definitely done that under my tenure and my administration. So we want to continue to do that. Now, this issue about use has been one that I know a lot of people have cared about. Senate Bill 1622 will repeal the burdensome state mandates and return decision-making power to local governments when it comes to recognizing recreational customary use of beaches. Under prior law that was enacted prior to me becoming governor, local governments were prohibited from affirming the public's recreational use of the dry sand areas of private beaches unless they first went through a complex and costly judicial process. That law tied the hands of counties and cities trying to protect the rights of residents and visitors to enjoy the same beaches that they had used for generations previously. By repealing the law, we return the authority back to local communities. Cities and counties can now adopt ordinances recognizing recreational customary use, walking, fishing, sunbathing, swimming, without having to obtain a judicial declaration parcel by parcel. This bill is about restoring local control, cutting legal red tape, and putting our residents first, but it goes even further to strengthen our coastal communities. The legislation also makes it easier to restore eroded beaches in certain Gulf Coast counties with relatively smaller populations. In these areas, it simplifies how the state sets the erosion control line, the legal boundary between public and private parts of the beach. And so the convoluted process will come to an end. We will be able to rapidly work to restore these beaches. The bill also allows Florida's Department of Environmental Protection to move forward with beach restoration in areas the state has already declared critically eroded as of August 2024 without having to secure public assessments from private Gulf front landowners. This will ensure the restoration projects can begin very quickly and that every dollar we invest in rebuilding the beach goes towards actual sand and vegetation, not needless litigation. Finally, the bill includes an important declaration that the state is not expanding its ownership claims beyond what is already constitutionally and legally recognized. We are protecting private property rights while also advancing projects that are in the public interest. I want to thank Senator Trumbull, the representatives who are all here who were instrumental in bringing this bill to the fore. I know this is something that a lot of folks in the community have wanted to see for a long time, and momentarily we'll make it official. But before we do that, I'm going to bring up some of our speakers, and so we'll start with Alexis Lambert from Environmental Protection.
Good morning. Thank you, Governor. I'm Alexis Lambert, and it's my privilege to serve as the Secretary of the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. And what a pleasure it is to be here in Walton County this morning. Walton County's beaches are some of the state's greatest treasures. They protect our communities, support our wildlife, and boost our local economy. They welcome more than 5 million visitors each year who come to swim, fish, and spend time with friends and family. With white sugar sand and clear turquoise waters, it's no surprise that people around the world come to enjoy these beaches. Our beaches and dunes, as the governor said, are our first line of defense when storms come, helping shield homes and protect businesses. Of Walton County's 26 miles of beach, nearly 19 miles are now considered critically eroded and in need of nourishment. Today, with the signing of Senate Bill 1622, we're taking an important step to better protect and restore these beaches. The bill clarifies how local governments can set beach use rules without unnecessary red tape. It also simplifies how we can set erosion control lines, allowing vital beach nourishment projects to move forward more efficiently. This means stronger, healthier beaches, clearer access, and a balance between public enjoyment and private property rights. I want to thank Governor DeSantis, the Florida legislature, and specifically the members of the legislature who are here today for this effort. With the signing of this bill, we're protecting our beaches, streamlining bureaucracy, and investing in Florida's future. Thank you, Governor.
Okay, Jay.
Thank y'all so very much for being here. Governor, I want to say thank you for being here. You once again have shown up for Northwest Florida, standing with the people of Walton County and with everyone who wants to enjoy what we believe are truly the most beautiful beaches in the world. This bill is much more than policy. It's about families. It's about tradition, and it's about restoring something that never should have been taken away in the first place. Back in 2018, when the state passed a law that blocked local governments from recognizing customary use of beaches, no one felt that impact more severely than Walton County. Overnight, people who had walked the same stretch of dry beach for generations were being told that they were trespassing. That's not the Walton County I know, and it's not the Florida I believe in. The people here weren't asked for anything unreasonable. They weren't asking for anything unreasonable. They just wanted to keep doing what they've always done. Walk the beach, toss a football, build a sandcastle with their families, and instead they got confused, conflict, and courtroom battles, all to protect a simple, time-honored way of life. Walton County, as the Secretary said, has 26 miles of coastline, but only 9 of those miles are public. So that leaves 17 miles of beach that's in limbo. And when 80% of your economy relies on these beautiful beaches relating to tourism, it's not just a legal issue, it truly is a community issue. It impacts jobs, small businesses, and the spirit of the place that we call home. I grew up enjoying these beaches, and I want my kids to enjoy that same opportunity, to enjoy the sands, the sunset, and the freedom to walk the shores the way generations before us have been able to do. I filed this bill because I had heard from so many residents in our community who felt like they had lost something sacred. And today, I'm proud to stand in front of y'all, and will be extremely proud when the governor signs this bill today to finally open up our beaches and give Walton County back what it was unfortunately taken away back in 2018. Today's not just a good day, today is a great day. A great day for Walton County, a great day for our beaches, and a great day for the state of Florida. And I'm thankful, Governor, for your efforts in making sure that this bill made it across the finish line. So thank you all.
Okay.
I want to echo what some of the senators said, and thank you, Governor, for leading us through this and for picking this spot where we get to view just how beautiful our beaches are. I would argue with most that these are the world's most beautiful beaches. As a kid, I got to play on those beaches. We'd play baseball where the Gulf was the backstop and the dunes were center field fence. But we live in a different scenario today. I can't enjoy the same thing. My kids don't get to enjoy the same benefits. You have to pick small sections of the beach to do that or to enjoy your beach. But we live in a different world now where you have no trespassing signs and private beach signs that keep you from enjoying that. And it has a much bigger impact than just on my family. This legislation, though, opens the door to renourishment. And renourishment will increase the public beach space that the tourists and the locals get to enjoy. But you see, we didn't run this bill just so Senator Trumbull and I's families can enjoy the beach. We ran this bill for the thousands of locals and residents here that have spent time on those beaches and should enjoy those beaches and have enjoyed them for generations. We also ran this bill for the millions of individuals that visit here as tourists every year, that spend their hard-earned dollars coming year after year, who came the first time to bring one of their family members as a baby, and now that baby has got their own babies, and they're still coming year after year to experience the wonderful beaches of Walton County. We ran this bill for the thousands of employees that have their jobs because the tourists come to see this beach. As you tour 98 and 30A and you stop at some of these shops or you eat at some of these restaurants, look around and look at how many employees are benefiting because we have tourists coming to the beach. And this bill will protect the opportunity that we continue to have those, because these families rely on these tourists to be able to provide for their families. As these beaches go, so does the county's livelihood, and so do the individuals of it. So renourishment, renourishment, renourishment needs to be the theme for the county. As the governor gets prepared to sign this bill and we pass the baton off to the county, I pray that you'll keep those families in mind as we journey through this renourishment process, that it's not just about the economic impact that it has on the county, which is great. As the senator said, it's over 80%. But remember those families who are feeding their kids and keeping the lights on because of the jobs they have from the tourism. See, renourishment is going to be beneficial for everyone. It's beneficial for the residents, it's beneficial for the tourists, but it's also beneficial for those beachfront homeowners. That renourishment will provide an invaluable security and buffer for storm surge and other natural disasters. So as I close, I want to again say thank you to the senator. He had a much harder lift on his side than I did on the House side, but I want to thank the governor for being there from day one and for always putting families first and the natural treasures of Florida first. So thank you, Governor.
Hello, I'm John Dillard. Perhaps some of you have heard my name before. I'm reminded of a quote by Winston Churchill, and he said, "If you need me to talk all day, I can do that right now. If you need me to talk to 5 minutes, I need 2 weeks to prepare." Luckily for all of y'all, I've had more than 2 weeks to prepare. Our efforts have been focused on our children, future generations, and I've worked on this and began working on this out of a hurting heart. Remember as a child or the first time you saw the beach, or the time that you saw it where you've been away from the beach and you opened up and you saw the kaleidoscope of colors that are behind us? It was beautiful. It was breathtaking. But that's not what our beaches have become today. They've become more of a microscope where people tell you where you can sit and where you can't sit, with security guards and what often feels like bouncers. And when Ponce de Leon discovered Florida in 1513, our beaches since then have been historically customary use. HB 631 upended the apple cart, turned everything upside down, had unintended consequences, and created a series of unfortunate events, and was a law for a privileged few, and I believe passed with malfeasance in mind. The repercussions of this bill have been dramatic. Rentals are down. Business owners are suffering, seeing their balance sheets shrinking and their profit margins dwindling. The quality of life here is not what it used to be, and indeed, it's created a fractured community. I want to appreciate personally and thank personally all the people that participated, the thousands of calls, and I'm sorry, correspondence, to Governor DeSantis, our commissioners, and to media throughout the United States. We had support from other countries. We made numerous trips to Tallahassee to speak in front of committees. And indeed, Governor DeSantis, we had 2 peaceful protests, very peaceful.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be standing there.
Amen. And one of them was indeed a protest when your plane couldn't make it to Legendary Marina because of the storms and the thunderstorm and the driving rain that was occurring. We were standing in the rain waiting. We're not waiting anymore. To Senator Jay Trumbull, who sponsored the bill 1622, who spoke out, and our future Senate President, thank you. For House Member Representative Shane Abbott, who met with us first December 7th of 2023, and he's the one that told us to write you. And he advised that this bill was a step in the right direction, and it is. Brad Drake called the amendment that you two guys presented brilliant. I agree. Commissioners Tony Anderson and Danny Glidewell, who made numerous trips to Tallahassee to speak out on the bill's behalf. SB 1622, which will now no longer be SB 622, will become a law in just a few moments, protects property rights. It does not reverse prior legal settlements. It provides a way for public beach access when none previously existed. It restores Walton County to an equal footing of all 67 counties of Florida. We are going to create public beach through renourishment. The bill passed unanimously in the House and only two nay votes in the Senate. The county, Walton County, gets a mulligan. We get a do-over. We need to be focusing on next steps. We have a survey that's being completed as we speak that we need to get in the hands of everybody with GPS units so everybody can know exactly where they can and cannot sit. We have $60 million allocated at the county level with $60 million of allocated matching funds from the federal government to begin the renourishment process. And we need the best legal minds that our county can obtain to help us in this process if we run into any obstacles. And as I shared with the county before, and Shane so eloquently said, renourishment, renourishment, renourishment. To our beachfront owners, I extend an olive branch. This law protects your property. It does not redraw property lines. It was never our intent to take property from those who own it. And I'm asking you, beachfront owners, if you could, consider sign reduction, nice security, and stop untowardly vendors on our beaches. And in closing, I want to thank Senator DeSantis for creating more free beaches in Walton County and restoring us to the free state of Florida. Thank you.
All right. Good job. Great comments, although you demoted me from governor to senator. But that's okay. I consider that a demotion. So we're excited to be able to do this. I know that it's going to be exciting for a lot of folks that live here in Walton County, but also expands opportunities for those who are visiting here. I know this is a great place to visit. I know there's a lot of folks that come down, and I'm looking at this sign, $32 for a grouper sandwich. Those are definitely getting those tourists to pony up, which, hey, man, that's America. So, do what you got to do. I don't know that I would pull the trigger on $32. I love grouper sandwich. I don't know if I could pull the trigger on $32. So, the inflation, though, with food has just been amazing over the last however many years. It's been unbelievable. I'll go through, we've got 3 young kids, so I've got a rising 3rd grader, rising 2nd grader, rising kindergartner. And I can't get through the drive-thru at McDonald's without spending $40, $50, it seems. I mean, it's just like one thing. It used to be you could get it very cheap. Now it's more and more. And all these places you go through, you just look and it's like all of a sudden, and something's got to give on that, because, I mean, that really is difficult for a lot of families to be able to afford. I know we've got some stuff that the legislature did, some tax policy. I want property tax relief more than anything, and so that's what we're going to deliver. I mean, if you own your home and that's like your primary residence and you have a homestead and everything like that, I don't see how government has the right to keep asking you to pony up infinitum to just pay rent to them to just live on the property that you supposedly own. If it's private property, that means you own it free and clear of the government. And I think for too long, we've just allowed, some of these local governments, and maybe not as much here, I don't know, but in other parts of the state, massive expansion of local government budgets because property values rise and they just get all this money flowing in. And that's kind of turned into a gravy train. But if you have a home and all of a sudden they're saying it's worth so much more, even with homestead, you still pay more, and that's tough for a lot of people. And so wouldn't it be great, free state of Florida means no income tax and you own your own home without them being able to hit you up for property tax? But I do think they have some stuff in this year's package. Well, one of the things I asked for is a Second Amendment summer. So you're going to be able to buy a Second Amendment without tax on ammo and firearms and accoutrements and all that. I think they expanded to like bow and arrow and all this other stuff, which is fine with me. But people are going to really, really utilize that. I think you're going to see our enthusiasts save an awful lot of money. Then we've got other things like disaster preparedness is now permanent. I think that the back to school is now permanent, so parents are able to save when they buy the school supplies and some of those things. What else was in there? Was there anything else? Yeah, but that affects very little. I mean, we did a thing like Florida is the only state in a country that taxes business rent. It's bad policy, and we eliminated it. In this, which I think is good, don't get me wrong, but that probably affects a relatively small number of people. I think it'll help our economy, and I think we'll be able to go from there. But I'm trying to think if there are any others. I haven't had to sign it yet. We're working through all this. I can tell you, though, I've started to go through a lot of the budget, and this senator here, he got a lot of stuff in the budget. I mean, I see his name like every other place, and he's lucky that him and I have a good relationship because he's gonna do very well, you know, as a result of that. But you just see kind of the same names, you know, kind of pop up. So we're going to be going through that. But the ultimate on tax is we can't do the property tax through the legislature the way Florida's Constitution is written. We have to put it on the ballot, and you as voters have to approve it when it's on the ballot. Probably it'll be November of 2026. So the next main election that we have, it's our intent to have this. Now, the Senate and the House have to agree to put it on the ballot, and I think there's going to be a lot of support to do that. But, you know, you just never know how these things work out. But if we have an opportunity to do that, it really will be historic for the state of Florida. And people say, well, you know, you have these small counties, these rural counties, they, like you guys here, and you can tax the tourists. You have other ways to be able to fund your operations rather than taxing your residents, primary residents. But what about the rural counties? And, you know, some of the members here, I know Shane's got rural counties, other folks. I run the numbers. We have like 31 fiscally constrained counties, mostly in the northern part of the state. And if you totally eliminated property tax on everybody's, all Florida residents' primary homesteaded properties, you could backfill 100% of that revenue loss. It's $300 million a year, which is not a lot for us to be able to handle for the state of Florida. So every rural resident should want us to do this, and don't let them tell you they're not going to have money. We can give money if that's what it takes to get the job done. So we're going to be working really hard on that. I think it's something that the folks here really deserve. And, you know, I look about people here, every time I run into someone, it's like, oh, yeah, I'm a Florida resident now. Like people, when did you buy, where are you at? And they'll be like, oh, I'm in Santa Rosa Beach. When did you buy the property? Oh, I bought it in 2018. I'm like, you've made a lot of money off that property since then because the values have gone up. And while there's good for that because people that own it have more equity and have more wealth, you know, the reality is if they're going to come tell you your house is worth twice as much than what you purchased it and you got to pay higher taxes as a result, that's a negative of having rising property values. And it's an unrealized gain. You sell your house, it's one thing on a transaction for someone to say to tax, like a sales tax, but to say you're just enjoying property and all of a sudden the value, so you have to pony up. We don't really do that in anything else. I mean, you buy a stock, you hold it, and then you're taxed when you sell it. The stock doubles, they don't just tax you as you hold it. So unrealized gains is not the way you want to run a tax system, but our property tax system basically relies on these unrealized gains. So we're going to work hard to provide relief, but ultimately we can't, as elected leaders, deliver the relief without the voters approving it at the ballot box. And so just get ready. You're going to have an opportunity to do that. I'm sure it's going to be very favorably received in Walton County and probably everywhere else, you know, in this part of the state. You know, there may be some little pockets. There's only pockets of blue in Florida now. You know, when I came on the scene, there was a lot more blue. Now it's like small pockets. Gainesville, Orlando, Broward, even Miami-Dade is red now. Who would have thought that 5 years ago, that Miami would be red? And it is. Even Palm Beach, you know, we won Palm Beach. That was the first time a Republican had won it in like 40 years. So you're seeing that. And I can tell you, if this socialist mayor candidate wins in New York City, you're going to see real estate values skyrocket even more in Palm Beach because people are going to get out of that city. As bad as de Blasio was, this guy is like going to be way, way worse. He doesn't think that you should have law enforcement in dangerous parts of the city, that you should send in social workers. See how that works out for you. It ain't going to work out well. So, you know, they've made a lot of really dumb decisions, and we've benefited from it. But there are pockets of blue that may resist property tax relief. But I think most people in Florida are really going to be excited about it. So we need your help to be able to get it done. It's going to be a long process, but we've got to get it done. All right, you guys want to come up and we'll sign this? today is the 24th. Yeah. All right. There you go. You want one? Who else wants one? Okay. Who else? Where's the, you want it? All right, I got one more. Peanut Gallery?
Tony?
You want it?
Tony?
All right, there you go. All right, here it is.
Right there.
What's that? Okay. All right, good job, guys. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Good job. Thank you. Of course, of course. Look forward to working with you, sir. Yeah, thank you, thank you. Hey, how you doing, man?
Can I get a quick picture?
Okay, sure.
Thank
All right,
you, Governor
yeah, thank
DeSantis,
you.
President-elect.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you
God
for
bless you. God bless you. All right, I think we're gonna. Hi.